right courses aligned and learning more about the technology. And I think I think artificial intelligence is in sync with cybersecurity. So all the products we have here in Microsoft is powered by AI. So if you have a robust base of cybersecurity, technology, you'll be able to understand like what difference it can make and how you can be successful. As in doctors, engineers, cybersecurity leaders. So what our goal is to build a resilient team of women around the world, as in future entrepreneur, future corporate leaders. And I think we make an impact by educating them towards, different technologies which are, important for, women from different part of, cybersecurity in the world.
Welcome everyone to another exciting episode of VR CyberTalks. We have a truly remarkable guest with us today, Mohini Soodan, a distinguished leader in the field of cybersecurity who has made significant strides both as a senior security architect at Microsoft and as the global chair for Culture and Heritage at G100, a group of 100 global women leaders. Mohini has been a key figure in shaping the future of cybersecurity, working closely with executives and public organizations to design top-tier security systems worldwide. She has also been recognized in her contribution to the industry, most recently as the recipient of the Women in Technology Award in 2023 in Silicon Valley. Without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Mohini Soodan.
Hi, thank you, Mohammed, for the warm introduction. As you already gave a very good background on what I do. So I'd like to say, first of all, thank you, VPNRanks, for this opportunity. And I'm looking forward to share more insights about cybersecurity and talk about what we do here at Microsoft, what difference we can make within different orgs and cybersecurity worldwide. And as you already mentioned, my name is Mohini Soodan. I'm a successful security advisor, security lead architect with Microsoft, and I'm also a cultural chairman with G100, which is, as you mentioned, group of 100 global women leaders. And I'll share more around cybersecurity and looking forward to share some more best practices, how we can fix security worldwide.
Oh, great. I'm excited. So let's start with the first question that I have prepared for you. My first question is, as you've risen to the role of country chair for the USA Global G100 wing, looking back on your career path, can you share a moment or a conversation that left a lasting impact on your approach to leadership?
Sure. I think, first of all, I think being a cybersecurity leadership, I think we share, good team values to our team. So I think one of the impacts I would like to share is around G100, which is one of the non-profit org where we lead different initiatives for women which are not from tech backgrounds, and we do mentorship for them. So I think in my career, one of the opportunities I've got to work with the women based in India and also in Africa who are from non-tech background, and making sure they are well equipped with the technology, talking more about cybersecurity and even mentoring them. So I would say in my whole career, one of the best impact I could make was, talking back to these women, doing mentorship over video calls and, making sure they understand what is cybersecurity, how artificial intelligence and cybersecurity can make a difference. And also the org I represent as a chairman in the US, this org supports women from all kind of backgrounds. So we are a woman from as in doctors, engineers, cybersecurity leaders. So what our goal is to build a resilient team of women around the world, as in future entrepreneur, future corporate leaders. And I think we make an impact by educating them towards, different technologies which are, important for, women from different part of, cybersecurity in the world. So we also mentor a group of women who are from different ethnicity, different countries. And also, leadership is about collaboration and inspiring, others to do excellent work. And I think I aim to be direct and collaborate with these women all over the world and, mentor them and give them counseling wherever they need and how they can, kickstart a cybersecurity career.
I think this is a very inspiring initiative. I wish you good luck for the future as well. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm actually doing it. I do, mentoring once a month. I meet students all over the world, and they're very excited to know about cybersecurity. How I can get into cybersecurity as a career. So we talk about like what are different, courses which you can do, and some of these courses are available online. Some documentation which they can, read, and some programs, which are built to enable the audience and making all these members all over the world enabled with different cybersecurity technologies.
Awesome. All right. Um, with that, let's move on to the second question. I had a chance to watch your keynote. It was called Authorization, the Foundation of Zero Trust
Mhm.
in Security. So, Zero Trust is a game changer in cybersecurity, from what I have learned. What was the aha moment for you that solidified its importance in your work at Microsoft?
So I think zero trust is a very huge topic, and aha moment zero trust is realization that traditional security model does not fall in place anymore. So as you know that back in the days, everything existed inside a corporate network, but as the security has evolved and we have cloud, evolving of cloud applications, so we make sure every single device or user is verified. So the aha moment, I would say, it's the realization that traditional security measures are no more good. So we always want to, implement zero trust principle, which is, we always trusted our partners, different organizations, but now we always verify, we always make sure every single device, or the key insight is like, you're trusting the devices, but at the same time, you are authenticating them, you're making sure we have the best security measures and proactively focusing on things like least privilege access. And also the aha moment will be understanding the principles of zero trust. And I think that's something I like to elaborate a little bit more. Like as I said, back in the days, everything was behind a corporate firewall, but now as we have more technology, more apps, we're working remotely, and we have teams all over the world. So how do we make sure everything is not just trusted but also verified and authenticated at the same time? And that's where I think the aha moment would be, understand zero trust to the core, and make sure you're implementing, you're verifying and detecting, and making those proactive measures so that you don't fall into something called as an, we always seen like cybersecurity attacks. And there are best practices we can always keep in mind, and making sure we are implementing those.
So I see, like you're talking about a proactive approach, which ushers in my third question. Um, you've emphasized that zero trust is a proactive rather than reactive approach to security, right? As you mentioned right now. Can you tell us about a time when zero trust helped you catch the villain before it even struck? We'd love to hear a behind the scenes story. So, like, do you have something that you can share with us?
Sure, absolutely. I think zero trust is not just, applicable to, on cloud or on prem. So I'll give you an example. So there are organizations who believe that their security is not top notch. But I think one of the challenges we have is to keep everything in a, visibility window. Like we have tools like automation, which is powered by AI. So we can even do proactive threat hunting. So there have been cases where, we have simulated the attacks. By that, I mean that we do mock attacks in our test environments so that we can see if there is a gap, we can, implement best practices right there and right then. So the key here is, I think there are different stories, like I'll talk about ransomware attacks. So I've done, case study on ransomware attack from Harvard. And what we realized that there were some gaps in the security architecture which would have been easily fixed, like things like MFA, like multi-factor authentication. So whenever there is a user or an identity trying to break free into any environment or architecture, I think we want to make sure we are more proactive, we are implementing those security measures within your environment. Things like looking at your compliance, are your devices compliant in your environment? Is your cloud safer? Are your identities safer? Are your users, you have different role and definitions of every identity or a user who's trying to access your environment or a device or, any solutions. So I guess zero trust is proactive because we are never trusting any device. We're always assuming that there is a breach. And in that case, you're always taking those proactive measures. Earlier we were more reactive. The attack would happen and then we would go back and, implement those changes. But now I think being more proactive is, today organizations are realizing that you have to have a robust, mature security architecture, and you can always achieve that only with proactiveness, and which is in sync with zero trust principles.
All right, that sums it up. Okay, I get it. Moving further, since we are referring to your keynotes, I have another question related to your keynote.
Sure.
In your keynote, you discussed both the strengths and challenges of role-based access control, RBAC. For organizations struggling to move beyond this, what's the first step? Any pitfalls to avoid?
So I think the first step would be, as you know, RBAC is a very, very huge topic. I mean, role-based access, with all these permissions, and we have to identify. I think the first thing we have to do is we have to be identifying the role definition, like defining the roles. What kind of roles are we? Admin? Are we creators? Are we? So once you have these job functions and responsibilities defined, you'll be able to, okay, I want to do, some RBAC within my environment, which is, least privilege and separation of duties. But at the same time, I think we have to make sure that we have role definitions, we have role maintenance. Sometimes people would leave the company, and if that's not updated or removed, there can be some gaps within your environment, which can be challenging later. And also, I think there are things like role explosion. Like sometimes, there are the team members who are at same level. So you want to make sure, as in a global administrator, that you have all these roles very clearly defined, which role will have what kind of access, if they need that kind of access. And sometimes, you can do things like conditional access and separation of duties within your environment. And also at the same time, role maintenance. Data quality, like quality of your underlying data, can be, sometimes costly. So we want to make sure we have all these top of mind items discussed well within your team, and we have a roadmap in place. And that's where we can have programs where you can, implement that within your environment, giving them access to suitable privileges all these roles would need. And I think that's something would be my recommendation. So the only challenge is, if you don't have role definition, there can be pitfalls against, what you want to define and how much scope of, as I said, with zero trust, you always have the scope defined of every identity of a user or a device or, whatever we have in your network. But if you don't have the plan, I think then it can have a great, gap within your environment. So that's where I think the pitfall would be not defining the roles properly and not maintaining it to the next level.
All right, that sheds a clear light on the answer to my question. All right.
Sure.
I saw that you attended the RSA event at Moscone Center. You got hands-on with some cutting-edge gamified AI experiences. What was your favorite part, and how do you think gamification will shape the future of cybersecurity?
So, that's a very good question, and I like to, share my experience with RSA. So I think I usually attend this, tech summit every year, and sometimes I've got an opportunity to do tech notes on cybersecurity with this conference, and this is a very big conference. So I think RSA is one platform which has recognized the benefits of gamifying the cybersecurity industry, because we have audience from all level of background. We have tech savvy people, we have managers, we have students who are joining these conferences to know more about how cybersecurity is powered by, AI and, things like natural language recognition can make a difference. So once you gamify these elements, I think storytelling, team leaderboards, this can actually improve the engagement and knowledge retention. So say if you are, undergoing a training, and I think one of the experiences I had was I was attending one of the interactive sessions, which was based on cybersecurity, one of the cybersecurity topics. So the gamifying experience of the training was really, something which I could take, remember even now, because it was more interactive. I think education, if that's gamified, like especially these trainings, it can help improve the knowledge retention. And then you have, feedback at the end, and it's, obviously powered by different cyber games we played there. And I think cloud threat gamification can give you, things like tabletop exercises that, help participants to identify threats to an organization. So I think I really see this as a future of cybersecurity, where all these, different gamification of these different, trainings and cybersecurity keynotes would be more interactive for the audience, which are, obviously from different backgrounds. So we make it more user friendly, and that's the best part.
That sounds very interesting. Obviously, a gamified experience is much easier to learn for all kinds of backgrounds. You're right. And while we're on the theme, it sounds like you saw some action-packed demos at RSA. What really wowed you at the Microsoft DCU booth, and how do you see their approach of mixing tech and legal actions shaking up global cybersecurity?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So we every year we have a Microsoft booth setup where we talk about our products like Defenders. We talk about Copilot. So one of our recent product is Copilot, which is our own power artificial intelligence. All our solutions are powered by Copilot. And I think we in our booth we actually gave more knowledge around what are defenders, what our Microsoft solutions can do, and provide you recommendations around security. And I think to answer your question, what was the wow moment? Learning more about the technology. So as a audience, when I'm walking to a Microsoft booth, I had a vast opportunity to learn more about what best I can do within my security, and what practices, how solutions fit well within my environment. So I think audience can be from mid-level to large-scale companies. So we had, different knowledge sessions around how we can fit different solutions, Microsoft solutions within their environment, whether it's a hybrid environment, whether it's on-prem, on cloud. So those were the topics I think were really, mesmerizing, I would say, and learning experience for anyone who's trying to learn more about security and how to implement some best practices within your environment.
All right. With that, we're moving into my favorite question of the interview. Cybersecurity is often seen as a serious business, but let's lighten it up a little bit. Imagine if you could create a cybersecurity themed movie. What would the plot be? Who would play the villain? And which Hollywood star would best portray you as the hero saving the day? Feel free to get as dramatic as you like.
So I think as a cybersecurity, I see technologies everywhere, and I think we have had some movies in the Hollywood lately where a plane was hacked and all passengers, their data was taken away. So I guess if I get an opportunity to be part of creating a cybersecurity movie, I would actually name something as in zero trust, and let's talk about a plane which is hacked, all the data is hacked, and what measures we could have taken around, and maybe Brad Pitt playing the lead role, and maybe we can have a somebody from maybe Priyanka Chopra playing the lead for the actress, and talking about what measures. This is like more of a awareness where we want to make sure your security goals align with the business. So I think the goals of these movies should be making a difference and making sure it's in the layman terms, and we must incorporate smart cybersecurity policies. So I guess it can be more dramatic, like a plane hijack or something, which can be more interesting for everybody to learn, okay, how a hacker can hack into your system, a bad actor can take your data away if you don't have the right security measure, and it'll be more interesting for them to, as I said, on the gamifying section. So if you have a movie on cybersecurity which teaches your audience about the best recommendations, and how you can align your security business, different values, different priorities, I guess it should be integrated to every organization.
While you were answering that question, the movie was actually playing out in my head. I was actually
Okay,
imagining.
which movie is that?
There was actually a movie that I watched recently, which made cyber attacks into the villain of the movie. No one knows who did the attack, but it's just rolling
Yeah.
out in the movie. It's called Leave the World Behind,
Yeah,
which
you can
is
leave the world
pretty.
behind. I was reading more about that, and I think I did actually, there was a ransomware attack, which is actually a real attack. So
Oh,
we should have
really?
a movie on that as well. So there was a research which I did. This was on back in, I think, 2-3 years back, around the COVID time. So in US pipeline, there was a ransomware attack where they actually, a hacker, got into the system, taken away all the data, and then they were asking for the ransomware, and that was one of the major attacks we have had in a past of
I believe
cybersecurity attack.
I believe it was called Stuxnet, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So
I've
we should
actually.
have a movie like that to raise more awareness that how, if you have a gap, and if you're not taking your serious, measures around zero trust, and not identifying your, implementing best practices within your environment, it can create a huge gap and a window for bad actors to sneak in and make different changes within your environment, and which can potentially be discovered months later. All these attacks, once a bad actor would get into your environment, it takes months to get discovered. So that's where, zero trust is, modernizing and simplifying your, security architecture at the same level.
Aw- So, all right. As a closing note, Mohini, I would like you, as the Global Chair for Culture and Heritage at G100, to give sort of your advice or a closing note to people who are aspiring to be cybersecurity leaders in the future.
So that's a very good question, Mohammed. So I think I grew up in India, and I did my, research from Harvard. So I think my advice to all the young people who want to be part of cybersecurity, I think there is a vision of, there's a vision you should have in your life, and also take more challenges and more solutions and more, courses around cybersecurity. And there are mentoring. One of the recommendations I want to give is, there is a channel which is free in YouTube, Microsoft Security. So you should be going and exploring that, where we have a lot of documentation and very innovative videos where you can learn more about cybersecurity. So if you're a newbie and you have no background, no technical background of cybersecurity, I would say go to that channel and read more about Microsoft and how Azure cloud evolved, and what are the different solutions which are top in market. Like, I'll talk about one of the solution is Defender for Cloud. Let's know more about that solution, and once you start indulging yourself in these trainings and read more documentation, and you can always ping me on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to answer any questions for you. And the only advice I would have, building a base of cybersecurity, starting with right documentation, reading more about the latest attacks. There are many case studies which are available free of cost in the internet, where you can talk, we can look in like recent attacks and how those happen and what were the gaps, and you can even look at the case studies and what best you can do to harden your security architecture. So my advice is, never give up. Anybody can be a security lead, but make sure you're putting your efforts and getting the right courses aligned and learning more about the technology. And I think I think artificial intelligence is in sync with cybersecurity. So all the products we have here in Microsoft is powered by AI. So if you have a robust base of cybersecurity, technology, you'll be able to understand like what difference it can make, and how you can be successful.
That was very inspiring, Mohini, and a truly enlightening interview that I have had with you today. I really thank you, and I really look forward to seeing more of your keynotes and possibly a future interview.
Thank you, VPNRanks, and thank you, Mohammed, for this opportunity. I really enjoyed talking to your team and VPNRanks specifically, and I think I wanted to share my, knowledge, what I have, and my experience in cybersecurity, and hopefully this is useful for all the audience right here. And thank you again for this wonderful opportunity. I look forward for collaborating in future as well. Thank you.
Perfect.